Okay, getting this thing going. Hold on. Okay, hello everyone. Gonna get this thing out to all, and then we can go ahead and start. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Boom. Okay. I think that about covers every single social that we typically use. Hey Bob, how you doing? Okay, seeing some people start to filter in. How are y'all doing? It's been a little while, hadn't it? Quite the month. All good things though, at this point. A lot looking up, got some really cool stuff in the pipeline, a lot to share. And yeah, I've been having a lot of cool conversations. We My wife and I, well, actually I should probably start off with the obvious before I start talking about Bahamas. Um, why am I in this room, which does not look at all like like the typical place that I record these videos? And why I suppose once again, why is my microphone quality back to being absolutely abysmal? That's a very good question, actually. I mean, the old saying, "When it rains, it pours," comes to mind. I didn't really make a deal out of this, much to do with work, but about a week, as it's 10 days after we experienced that exploit. So I guess like April 4th or 5th. Um, my apartment completely flooded. The cleaning women who were cleaning out the apartment above me for the complex busted the toilet feed line. I don't know how many of y'all know what a toilet feed line is. It's that little line that comes off the back of the wall, snakes up into your toilet. They stop the cutoff valve, and totally unable to shut off the water. And let me see if I can find the photo. Yeah, our place got completely destroyed because they didn't know where the external cutoff valve was either. And we been looking for a new place ever since. So yeah, it's been quite the few weeks, but I would say that for Revest, things are thoroughly headed in the right direction, and I'd like to go ahead and open up the floor for questions now. And if no one gives me any questions, I'm just going to start talking about all the other things that we're doing, and what's going to be going down the next few weeks, where we are in our recovery plan, and where we're headed. Well, thank you, Easy Rider. I appreciate that. Perhaps we could work out a deal where my well, no, no, I can't volunteer her. She's actually in the next room. She, I'm okay at dishes. How much do you care about your china? Are you attached to it? You know, that sounds about right. Uh, we've been staying with my folks. It's nice. They live in the same city as us, so we've just been staying here until we find a new place to live. And we're pretty close. Found a nice 1,700, 1,800 square foot apartment near near Lenox, actually, which is also where the new Revest office is going to be. We have an office now, so that's really cool. Can I give an update on the NFT to help with fund buying blocks? I think you mean the NFT project that we are currently working on. That is going to be one for blocks. It's a deal for them because it is going to be verified by blocks, and that is cool. That's a really interesting product they've got, and I'm really happy that we could collaborate to give that another another project to act as a flagship on. But also, the other cool thing about that collection, the name of which we have not publicly revealed yet, but which will be soon revealed, either we're talking at the latest the week after this coming one. You'll find out a lot more about that. But that'll be oh Jesus Christ, Foo Bear. That's oh God, that's a horrible joke. Yes, there was lots of liquid in our apartment. I suppose you could say we had too much liquidity. Oh Jesus. Okay, but yeah, the NFT project. So all the funds raised from that are going to be used to basically reimburse those who were impacted by the exploit, and the goal is to raise around. I want to say right now we're going to be charging 0.08, 0.085, 0.09 F somewhere in that neighborhood, so that we have one we've paid back everyone. That's the goal, is that everyone gets made whole. Some of the communities impacted, I know EcoFi in particular, are experiencing some more structural problems, and Blocks and myself and the Revest team, we are collaborating to kind of figure out a more um, stable solution for them than just dumping that money back into the liquidity pool where the vultures who came in after their hack would undoubtedly seek to siphon it off. Uh, since unfortunately, I know that EcoFi has been extremely aggressively impacted by that, and as far as I'm aware, the project is not continuing forward at this current time, except in the community sense. So we are working with those community leaders, and we are working with Blocks on figuring out a good solution for those impacted by what happened. In terms of progress, the art itself is done. It was finished today. Well, yesterday. It's being uploaded to the Google Drive right now. I haven't had a chance to actually go look at it. And the artists are in Australia, so it's never quite clear what day it is when I'm talking to them. But it's done and it looks great. I'm really excited to let y'all see it. And you're not going to see that much even before the launch. I'm going to have to warn you. We're going to leak out a few images, but I've done NFT launches. I know how they work. You don't show too much. If you show too much, you ruin the fun. And we really want this event to be fun. We want this to, be a way to take something that was, really negative, and that's a hack. That's incredibly negative. It's horrible. It's a lot of negative, destructive, bad energy, for lack of a better term. We want to, do something creative and fun and unifying it to kind of counterbalance that, I guess is the best way to put it. And then we want to turn over control of that project to the community. This is not something that Revest will be, administering. This is something that we are creating and launching, and well, in some ways, paying for. But once it's out the door, it's y'all's. It's those who are impacted. It's no longer ours. Um, and we anticipate that being pretty cool and very positive, and honestly a lot of fun, because Lord knows all of us could use some fun after the past few weeks. Jesus. So we're really excited about that. It's been a fun project to build. Taking a look at all the stuff that happened, and we poke a bit of fun at ourselves in it. I'll say that about it. There are references in there to ourselves getting well wrecked. And I feel like that's how you have to handle something like this. You do what you can to fix it. You get a lot stronger, and if someone wants to ask questions about security, I've got a lot to share. And then you do what you can to make those who are hurt whole, and then you move forward. Hello, JL. That is a very long sup. But yeah, does anyone have any questions? Come on, guys. We've got 2 audits ongoing. We've got development going on with Resonate. Yes, you did hear that name, correct? Resonate. It's delayed. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that it's not delayed. We had to take the past month and basically dedicate it to security because that's what was needed. Um, but we're very nearly out of the woods on that. We've started doing some more development on it again. Uh, if we're lucky, we can still make Q2. I'm not going to set any deadlines. I want to, but I also know how development works. We've got a really talented front end team. I'm looking at interns right now. We just brought on an, you know, he's not an intern, but we just brought on a really talented Solidity developer, and he's been helping me out so that I can spend, less time doing Solidity and more time, doing my job as CEO. Yes, JL. Actually, quite cool stuff. We haven't been sitting around doing nothing, not since we've been working on security, we've been working on future partnerships. We may actually be seeing one of our old partnerships finally come to fruition by the beginning of next week. Um, but yeah, there are a lot of things in the pipeline right now. Okay, so how are we going to do multi-chain Revest? So with staking, yeah, sure. I really need to get this written down. We just finished up our internal audit. I'm waiting on the executive summary, and one of the things that the auditor told us, and he's this guy. He does audits for big CFI corporations, right? That's his job. Um, did this more as a favor because we're friends. Paid him a decent little bit, but nothing too crazy, and just sat with him for about 20 hours and went over everything we do. He told us basically, yeah, y'all need to start writing down your policies more than we have been, and you need to put together these unified network charts, these unified roadmaps. We've got a roadmap, and I can say right now that this is going on it. What we're going to be doing with the staking system is twofold. First off, so phase one, when we go multi-chain, staking will work in that we're going to look at how much all chains bring down, and we're going to say, okay, we have this many Revest tokens here staked in both LPs and just single asset. And we have this many Revest tokens here, and based on that distribution of what's staked where. So say you've got a fourth of Revest on Phantom, and 3/4 of the Revest staked is on F. So then we do a 25-75 split of every amount of revenue that we brought in. So that would be how we determined routing at first. However, that's when we can only bridge tokens. Our ultimate goal, and this is longer term, I don't have an actual timeline on this. I will not pretend that I do, but I do want it to happen. And I do know the people who are doing this kind of thing. So it will likely happen in the future. It's not high on the list because it is kind of a luxury feature, and I'd much rather build systems. What this thing is it is a system by which you can port FNFTs from chain to chain. And once that system goes live, we will be doing it so that all revenue generated on a single chain stays on that chain. So all Phantom would be on Phantom, all stuff from Matic would be on Matic, all stuff from ETH would be on ETH mainnet. It's just each thing in its own place, and that change occurs because now you can take your FNFT. If you're staking on ETH and you want to be staking on Phantom, you can just port it over, and that creates even more interesting game theory with okay, what pool is the most lucrative pool? If there's a partnership incoming, you might think, okay, I know they announced they were working with these guys. That's going to be coming up. That's going to generate a lot of money. I should move to that chain and get in there before they drop the revenue. We did actually. I think I mentioned it in one of our chats. We've been figuring out the best way to distribute large lump sums, and so far, what we've decided is that the best way when we get absolutely massive amount of staking fees is just to distribute them in the week that they're created. So we I'm not saying that there is such a sum inbound, because I can't say that. But if there were, then it would be distributed in the week that it was created. Thompson, I would love to hear more. That sounds interesting. I don't know what 3 tokens you're talking about, but I'm definitely interested to hear more. We can move our FNFTs to Phantom at some point. Yes, that is the goal. That is why we're doing it this way. It's because we really like the idea of making things cheaper. Yeah. So if you're on F, we don't want to punish you for being on F, since that's where we started. And that's why we designed it this way, is because if we were to just say, okay, now all Phantom's going to be on Phantom, and now all F is going to be on F, and now all Matic is going to be on Matic, and we didn't have a way for you to jump between chains, well, then you're actually kind of being punished for being an early adopter on F. And we don't want to do that. That is the opposite of what we want to do, which is why we're doing it in this, kind of two-phase approach where we really need to be able to bridge FNFTs between chains before we can get to phase two. When chain dominance is decided by number of FNFTs on that chain, well, then you got Phantom versus F. Actually, I'm not actually sure. The Phantom caught up really fast once we did Liquid Driver. That exploded, and yeah, that one's pretty cool. I love that. I love that system. It is so neat. All right, hit me with something else. So yeah, I think I was talking about, we finished the audit this week. The internal audit, the actual code audits are ongoing. Code audits are they're those guys are cool. I like them. The guys from I think y'all saw the guys from Zelic. They were amazing. They found it was basically a little miniature vulnerability in our code this week. It wasn't a huge deal. User funds were never at risk, but they alerted us to it, and we're like, okay, yeah, this could temporarily disable the ability of somebody to be able to withdraw their full amount of funds. The hacker would permanently lose access to his funds. So it's not really that good of a hack. It's only a grief if you want to make someone's day painful. But they're like, yeah, this could happen. And we're like, okay, we're going to go ahead and fix that. We fixed it right away. Took us a day or two, I want to say, from detection to total fixed deployment. And I'm really proud of the team. They performed great. That one did disable rebase tokens. That is the one downside, is that rebase tokens in our native storage system, and if you guys with Thunderpocket are listening, that still works. In the non-native system, where it's an output receiver instead of the actual storage vault, but I won't get too deep in the weeds. So we have disabled rebase tokens for a short period of time. The good news, though, is that Token Vault v2 is currently in testing. So we are going to be deploying several, I suppose, patches is the best way to describe them. In some cases, they are really, one of them patches the FNFT handler reentrancy exit point. And let me make it clear, no funds are currently at risk. The contracts have been so up-hardened that nothing can actually, re-enter them. We're only patching this because I'm paranoid, and I don't like that there's a way to exit that contract at all in the way that it can be exited. So that entire system is going to be patched next week. Like I said, Zelix looked at it, Blocksec has looked at it. They're like, yeah, you're totally fine, even without this. But I also just am paranoid, and I want that out. So that's going to be happening probably next week, ideally around the same time. We'll be implementing our break glass system, which will allow us to automatically, not automatically yet, I'll get to that in a sec. It'll allow any one team member to take the entire system offline, any one member of the multi-sig. And that'll mean that basically if one person is alerted to a fault, we can immediately offline the whole system. We have also been speaking with Forta. I will say that. Forta's cool. They actually have automated threat detection systems, and combined with Open Zeppelin Defender, in the near future, we are actually going to be implementing a fully automated system, so that if it detects that there is a pending attack, or even, just if, let's say that someone launches a test attack, even, it'll detect that and it'll offline the system. And that may lead to false positives, but I'm okay with that because they're better than false negatives. Or just not offlining the system. Finally, and this is probably my favorite one, and I'll answer your question in a second, JCB, and JL, I will also answer that one. But finally, we are we've got a new token vault. So I didn't think we could upgrade token vault first because it is a stateful contract. It has tokens stored in it. It's that hub. But it turns out that we can actually sunset it. And what that means is that going forward, Token Vault V2 will be taking all new deposits. This will be deployed probably sometime next week, is the goal. It's currently in testing. Zellic is going to be taking a look at the code, making sure it checks out for the audit. We're not deploying code that isn't checked. That would be a terrible idea. And Token Vault V2 will restore rebase token functionality, which is really kind of a side effect. What it does is it makes it extremely, extremely difficult to steal value from Revest. It is so previously we used the industry standard, and the industry standard is, you store all the tokens in one big bucket, one contract. Uniswap arguably does it with each token pair having its own liquidity pool, and all the tokens are in there. A lot of lending pools do it this way. Yield vaults are a bit better because they have one vault per token, but it's still not as good as this. This is the best. What we figured out is that we can actually drive forward the industry standard. It's called EIP 1167. You've heard about it before. We use it in our smart wallets with Liquid. What EIP 1167 lets us do is it lets us know before we even deploy a contract what address a specific input parameter would give if we used it to create a contract. And that means that when you create your FNFT, we know your FNFT's ID. So we use that plus the token vault to figure out, hey, if we combine these two things, we'll get a contract at this address. And that's, it's a deterministic address, meaning that it will always be that address for that FNFT ID. So what we can do is, and this actually decreases the cost to mint FNFTs significantly. You guys are going to love this. So cheaper FNFTs. That's really all I probably had to say, but cheaper FNFTs and safer even. So we take your tokens, and instead of sending them to the token vault like we used to, now we send them to an address that doesn't even have a contract. It's a void. There's nothing there. Your tokens are functionally burned. But because we know where the contract will be deployed in the future, we know that we can retrieve them in the future. We could retrieve them immediately if we wanted. It's not like there's a time period or anything. It's just that there is no contract there. It's just an address with no private key, I should add, no private key. So what we do is each FNFT ID will have its own special contract that it goes to. They'll natively handle rebase tokens. And when you want to withdraw, we deploy we use EIP 1167 to deploy a proxy contract, a minimal proxy at that address. We retrieve your tokens using a withdraw method, and then we burn them. And only your FNFT ID can deploy a contract to that address. Any other FNFT ID won't work. They'll be stuck. So if you don't have your FNFT, obviously you can't get your tokens. And why this is so incredible is that basically it makes the kind of attack that exploited us impossible. Even if you could re-enter the contract, even if that was possible, you still can't steal tokens because there are no tokens in that contract. The way that attack worked, it used a vector where it convinced our token vault that it was owed more tokens than it was supposed to have, right? And the token vault was like, okay, you're owed, 11 million tokens. Here, have them. Even though that actually made the vault insolvent, as in all of the debts owed by the vault didn't add up to the actual amount of tokens in it. But because of this system, because of the way it works, you'll have an FNFT, and you can convince that FNFT all day that it's worth 11 million tokens, but it can only pull tokens out of one location. And if there are not 11 million tokens in that location, you're not getting anything. So yeah, we're really excited about that. It is an entirely new kind of standard for security in DeFi, and we get to be the ones to pioneer it because of the work we did with Liquid Driver. Funny enough. That's actually what led to this entirely, is just what we came up with while we were working with them. This was the natural progression of it, and now we have probably one of the most high security storage vaults in existence. Zellick was telling me, we're talking about this, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're probably going to tell pretty much everyone we work with from now on to use this. This is amazing." So yeah, highest security in the business, and I'm really excited to get these things out the door, because once they're out the door, we finish off this NFT project. We make these people whole. We're back. We're back to just building. We're back to shooting toward the stars, shooting toward that $100 mark. Let's see. We got a question. Yeah, I'm excited. I am thoroughly excited. I've had a lot of really interesting calls lately. Crypto Bahamas, Jesus Christ, the meetings I've got scheduled, it's crazy. These are good people to be talking to. We're going to be able to do some really good business and do some really good things for Revest. Will the single multi-sig holder ability to offline the system affect the protocol's decentralization? No, it will not, because basically these are emergency powers that are granted by the multi-sig, and if the multi-sig wanted to, suck up those powers, it could. It's not like you can actually, do an important transaction. We just grant you the emergency power to offline the protocol and pause the token. Kind of like I was granted the emergency power to pause the token prior to the exploit, and that is what saved that $2 million. But no, the multi-sig remains a 4 out of 7 multi-sig, and we'll probably, continue to progress toward further decentralization as we move down the road. I do anticipate that we will keep these measures in place. The list of people who have access to it may well grow, just because we want lots of people to be able to offline the system, but nothing more than that. It's not like you have any power beyond just, hey, break the system. And if you misuse that power, well, the multi-sig will just take it away from you. It's a very limited role. So did Double Sharp with this come up with this architecture? So Fubear, Double Sharp is the guy who introduced the EIP 1167 and the self destruct kind of pattern. The idea, I think he was aware of this kind of vault storage system, but I was the guy who put the two and two together in like, oh wait, we could literally just send tokens to an address that doesn't exist. That was me. So I would say he definitely helped develop it. I wouldn't say that it was 100% his at this point. I've taken and kind of run with the idea because it's such a fun idea. I have to let the dog in. I will be right back. Okay, never mind. So yeah, we are headed down to the Bahamas this week, and okay, what is my opinion about the current state of what? The market? My market or the price of Ethereum? Those are two different things. Ethereum, I'm bullish. I mean, I'm bullish on Revest as well. I'm really just kind of bullish on crypto as a whole, if you want me to be totally honest. I don't even remember how much I staked the other week. I did some LPs, so yeah, LPs are good. LP staking is good, but you didn't hear from me, because if you did, then my rates would actually drop. Okay, yeah, I have not seen that video, Fubear. He basically explained the concepts around deploying the smart wallet to me. The part where you send the tokens to an address that doesn't exist, that was one I came up with on my own. Went back and was like, hey, you can do this. He's like, oh yeah, you can do that. But yeah, I definitely need to watch that video. JC, okay, hold on, JC1B. How many people are working for Revest, and how many blockchain developers do I have? Okay, so blockchain developers, counted myself 2. Currently looking to potentially hire a 3rd, maybe even a 4th. I've got several applications from people looking for internships, and given that they are, they appear to be fairly skilled Solidity developers in their own right at this point, I'm not hesitant to hire more people. How many people are working for us total? It's around 8, maybe 9 now. I do not have that list in front of me, but I could think on the number. I am getting, well, I would say I've hired, but I have not. I'm getting ready to hire our project manager. I found a guy. He's really cool. I like him a lot. He seems like he's got the passion, which is what you need in someone in that role. You need that passion, and we're working on W-2, all those fun things that involve hiring someone in a full-time employment role within the United States. So that's withholdings, holding accounts, the fun stuff in life. But yeah, it's probably around 9 or 10 at this point, and likely to grow more soon. We found someone who's volunteered for the role of social media manager. We'll see how that works out. And we've got more people looking for jobs coming to us. So I'm really excited about that. So, state of the market, I would say I'm bullish on crypto. I am bearish on stocks. Um, Stock market is doing some topsy turvy things lately. Saw what happened to Netflix. Not good. Um, my whole prediction remains the same as it always has. I know how much money the top 10 market managers on the planet have. They each have more than the market cap of crypto individually. And when those guys start putting money in, we're going to, yeah, things are going to go up at least 50%, probably 100. And that's not going to be evenly distributed. This industry is primed to blow. Even if Wall Street crashes, people will jump ship on the way down. This is my thinking into crypto because everyone knows crypto is going to come back before Wall Street. That's obvious. So, yeah, I remain very bullish on my outlook. Uh, this is the future. This don't bet against that. That's a bad idea. The cycle pattern is it's not the same as it was. It's different. It's gotten weirder. Um, Probably because we're actually starting to crypto uses for the very first time in one of these cycles. There are actual systems that work, and it's starting to be like, okay, what paradigm are we on now? I think we're kind of in the process of transitioning from the old one to the new one, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I know where all my money is parked though, and it's not the bank accounts. It's not USDC. So let's see. That actually no. I'm gonna take a second to segue here. That actually ties into the Bahamas pretty well. Crypto Bahamas, very cool. Did not know who was going to be speaking there. Found out like months after I signed up for it. It's like, oh wow, let's see if boys are making their play, and that's what I think is actually going on. If you go look at the website, you'll see who's speaking. It's people like Kathy Wood, Bill Clinton for some reason, Tony Blair. I don't understand why Bill Clinton and Tony Blair are at a crypto conference, but Tom Brady's also there. So from what I gather, people in the centralized financial industry are starting to realize, the way the wind is blowing, and they can tell you it's blowing toward crypto. This is the way of the future. This is where it's all going to, and this is, I think, I've kind of gathered from looking at lists of attendance. This is actually a fairly important conference for discussing where all this is headed, which I'm really quite excited to be at. Um, there are a lot of people from big asset managers listed on the attendance, and is an extremely bullish sign to me because why are these people at a crypto conference? Well, because they want to figure out, okay, what's this crypto thing? How do I buy it? Where is it headed? They've been watching, and I think they're getting ready to make their move, especially while the market is a little bit low. Probably whenever this coming recession hits, and that, if you want my take, that's probably going to be sometime in early fall, late fall. Um, but I'm this is not financial advice, and I do not have any real clue of what is going on in the CFI world. I know DeFi pretty well, but even then, I mostly live under a rock in terms of actual investments. I know what I do, and I know what Ethereum does, and I'm mostly focused on building over markets. But it's nice to keep a macro picture. So, any other questions? No, nothing. There's a lot I wish I could share. There's just a lot of cool stuff coming up. I feel like this whole exploit thing was horrible. It was absolutely awful. But I thoroughly feel like we've come out of it a much stronger and more professional organization. I will say that. We're not done yet. The people who were hurt by it still need to be made whole. But I am firmly confident that that will be happening. Do I have any direct competition in the market? Good. No, no, I don't. There is no one doing what we are doing. There is no one, even as far as I'm aware, attempting what we are doing. There are some people who are close in different areas, but what we're doing it's different. It's something I think a lot of people have missed because they're thinking in terms of ERC20s and having a standardized wrapper that can interact with users via a built-in modular UI, all contained in an NFT. That's a little esoteric, but it's the kind of thing that's like you go back in time, you're building payment systems in the 2000s. Well, what the heck's a payment system? What is this new fangled internet thing, anyways? I've said it before. I view us as a little bit of the Stripe of crypto. I still say that we're software as a service. Some of the stuff we're doing is not, and honestly, when you ask about competition, what Resonate is going to be doing has plenty of competition, but no one's doing it right because they're all trying to use ERC20s. Kind of like when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. The thing that Resonate will do, if you do it with an ERC20, you can do it. You have to choose a fixed maturity for an entire ERC20 series for assets that really don't benefit from fixed maturities. So it's a bit odd. It's a bit of an odd choice. It makes sense given the context of the industry. And that's why Revest is really just kind of poised to absolutely dominate that niche because everyone else is doing it in a way that is clunky and just not at all user friendly or very effective at all, if I'm being honest. Can we have an option? Do I have a yeah? Do we have an option to choose between ETH and Revest rewards? No, Mr. Todd. We are done with the Revest distribution. I mean, hey, eventually we could set it up so y'all could vote for us to just go buy back Revest with the ETH. I'm not opposed to that. That would be a pretty fun way to do things. But by and large, the Revest rewards have ended. I suppose we could put it up for a vote at some point. We aren't emitting any more Revest though. We're not inflationary. That was kind of the point, and that's kind of fueled the transition to ETH. Where did I get my DeFi education? I taught myself. I was educated formally in mechanical engineering with a bachelor's in ME from Georgia Tech, Georgia Institute of Technology. For those of you who aren't familiar with the not acronym, the short version. And I got my master's in mechanical engineering from Georgia Tech as well. Then dropped out of my PhD program to start Revest. So my education is entirely self-taught. I've been involved in crypto since 2012. My programming education, I took a bunch of courses in computer science in undergrad because I think computer science is fun. But I've been doing CS as a hobby since 2011. So yeah, I just kind of taught myself everything I know about DeFi because it's not hard. You just go out and read white papers and you talk to people and you learn and you pick stuff up and yeah, that's how I did it. What is your dream size of Revest in the future? How many people would you like to have on the team, and when will you deliver on all your ideas? What then? Well, then I'll think of new ideas. How many people in the team? I don't know, between 30 and 100. My goal for Revest is I want this to be an organization. I don't want Revest team to always be, the boots behind the Revest protocol. I want this to become an ecosystem, and for the team to keep doing what we're doing, which is going from, okay, we got the protocol. Now we're going to go build Resonate, and then we're going to go build something else. Um, it's kind of like what Andre did, only without the whole surprise betrayal at the end. That's the goal. I don't want to do that. That kind of pissed me off, actually. But the goal for Revest is to just keep growing as an organization as much as we can. We'll be the size that makes the most sense, and we'll just keep building things that are useful and add value, and you know make money for all involved, I guess, is the best way to put it. It's fun, and of course, I'm not going to run out of ideas, man. That's not something that I do. When I run out of ideas and get bored, that's when I have more ideas. That's actually how I had the idea for Revest. Funny enough, I was bored after negative entropy, sitting around, screwing around on the internet, and idea kind of popped into my head. I think I've told the story a few times. I won't spend too much time on that. Are you working with any Cosmos ecosystem team on their projects? We've had chats, yeah. Won't get into the details. We're not on Cosmos yet. We will eventually be on Cosmos, but that is one of those things where we're going to deploy the system after the audits have been completed with the new code. We don't want to have to deal with any kind of legacy migration stuff for Cosmos. So same thing with Cisco. And we had a deployment there and no one had used it yet. So we just decided to quietly sunset it since it's an unused deployment, and then just redeploy it later as a new deployment with the new code, green check marks from the auditors. And I say, okay, yeah, this is the up-hardened version. We don't have to deal with any kind of weird migrations. It's just going to work right out of the box. So that's our plan for those two chains. We've got a few other chains we're talking to. We'll see how things pan out. Market buy, yeah, I follow. So the idea would be that you would take the F and then market buy Revest, and basically a buyback model similar to what Aave or X Sushi I think does that as well. Similar to those concepts, and yeah, that's a good idea, and we could put it up for a governance vote. I'm not opposed at all. It would definitely make some sense. Cadena, I have not heard of them. Are they an EVM chain? Because if they are, open. But all right, I think we have maybe 2-3 more minutes left. Give me a second. So yeah, we can probably do one more question. So go ahead, toss them in the chat. I'll take a look at them and choose the best one, and we'll jump off from there. Appreciate it, Mr. Todd. Thank you. Come on, guys, hit me with something. What am I doing in the Bahamas? Sir, when launch? Yeah, anything y'all got? Well, of course, yeah. No, happy to be here. No final questions? Really? All right. I'll come up with a statement then. Oh, are you going with the guy from Poland? No, but he's really cool. Dude does amazing work. Thoroughly happy to have him on the team. He is fantastic. Good luck. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you very much. When flipping. Yeah, I'm not even going to say anything about Bitcoin versus ETH. We know where I come down. So yeah, closing statement. Well, I would say it's been a fairly difficult month, as months go, and I appreciate all of y'all for sticking with us. We are working our absolute asses off, getting things back underway, and your patience has really been appreciated. It's uh, it's been a lot of work, but I am incredibly confident that it's all going to pay off in a huge way. And knowing what I know about where we're headed, now that we're getting through these things and getting them out the door and getting these necessary improvements made, I'm just, yeah, I'm incredibly excited for what the next few months hold. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to show y'all all the stuff that we've been working on. So that's all for now, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care.